Hello, I'm David Jones, Head of Corporate Affairs for Illion. A big welcome to you on behalf of the whole team. According to the Australian Institute of Criminology, the annual economic impact of identity crime exceeds $2 billion. It's a whopping amount of money, and we're led to believe that 1 in 4 Australians are falling victim to this at some point in their lives. To mitigate these losses, as well as the reputational damage of identity crime, it's critical for businesses to know who their customers really are. It's the old KYC. I'm joined today by KYC Financial Crime and AML Solutions specialists, Peter Chan and Simo Buzanin. They're here today to answer some of your questions and to share some key insights around how Illion can assist. Welcome, Peter and Simo.
Thanks for having us, David.
Thank you, David.
Simo, my first question to you, what have you observed over the past couple of years when it comes to business challenges with managing identity fraud?
Thank you, David. I think great question, and definitely we've had a very interesting last 3 years or so. A lot of businesses have onboarded customers digitally during COVID. And in many cases, really without a fully thought out solution. I think, unfortunately for most businesses, it was the only way to operate during lockdowns. And what we're seeing now, a few years later, is really a true gaps starting to appear in the KYC and the KYB onboarding processes that really leave businesses vulnerable to fraud. And in most instances, what we've observed, and unfortunately, it's only discovered well after the fraud has been committed.
So Peter, how would clients know if this was an issue that was affecting their business?
Great question, David. And to be honest, what we hear in the market today is that there's no one business that's immune to this, to fraud. All businesses are affected to some extent, and especially those that are onboarding customers digitally without that physical presence, as there's always a risk that customers are applying who aren't always who they say they are. And what we're seeing today is fraudsters continue finding smarter and creative ways to bypass these processes, and are constantly looking for easy targets to do that. And especially businesses where they have adopted verification processes and not as sophisticated as one might think. They've now become sort of easy targets for fraudsters to exploit. But we're not just seeing that in the digital world. We're also seeing that with fraudsters applying in person as well, whether it's through a branch, in store, or even in a dealership. We're seeing fraudsters. Fraudsters that are applying for services and presenting fraudulent ID documents. So there's always a risk of fraud to any business, and it's not just the traditional industry sectors that we know it to be. It's now extending to any and every industry segment.
Yeah. So what does best practice in the marketplace look like for digital onboarding, Peter?
Well, I think this varies depending on the type of customers you're dealing with, how you're engaging with the customer during the onboarding process. That act as a way of understanding the customer, but also a deterrent as well. At the minimum, businesses should very much have processes in place to verify their customers. That's a bare minimum that businesses should have to understand and know who they're dealing with as they apply for your services. Where we're seeing a lot of businesses moving to a digital environment, that they should in fact have additional precautionary solutions in place, not just rely on the good of verifying their ID. And we're seeing a lot of businesses now moving towards and focusing on other solutions that complement the traditional ID verification. And what we're seeing them adopt solutions like biometrics and other additional authentication processes.
We're already helping a lot of customers manually verify their clients, but how can we help further? What does the cutting edge look like, Peter?
Yeah, look, and that's one of the because the great things that we're hearing from customers is they have processes in place. They are always room for improvement, and in a digital environment that we're in today, where customers are accustomed to a high level of standard when applying for services. They want things right now, and they want a quicker time to yes. They're expecting the application process to be seamless and easy to apply. So you're dealing with a different sort of service level where customers are expecting higher customer experience and quicker response times. Where we can help is very much around our electronic digital solutions. They're very much designed to not only just verify customers and ensure that that we know who they are, but it's implemented in a way that minimises friction to the onboarding experience. And in doing so, customers can quite easily flow through that process and start using the products and services that's being offered quicker.
To add to that, David, I think what we've observed is a lot more customers are starting to look at not only about knowing your customers at the time of onboarding, but actually keep knowing the customer after they have been onboarded. So whether they're high, medium, low, whether they do re-KYCing every, 2, 3, 5 years, depending on the industry. And so, yeah, that's been a really, really big trend that I think, has been driven probably because of the impact that certain fraudsters or fraud can have on the bottom line.
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic, isn't it? Well, what are the consequences of not getting this right, Simo, just in closing?
Yeah, great, big question, David. So I think the impact of fraud and stolen identities, it's incredibly damaging, and not only for the customer, but also for the organization involved. I mean, if you think about the reputational damage for the organizations, the executives that are involved, and also the directors, directors who are ultimately responsible, for the governance. It's really creates a big kind of snowball effect, and the impact on businesses, reputationally, financially, can be quite huge. It's similar to really the cybersecurity. It's not something that can be easily fixed, but there are processes and technologies that can be used to minimize risk and take a risk-based approach when it comes to managing customers.
That's great. Thank you very much, Peter and Simo. And if you're concerned about fraud or identity crime within your business and you'd like to talk to an expert, please don't hesitate to reach out to us here at Illion. Thank you and have a good day.